What's really good? It is your girl Toya G, and it ain't Thursday and it ain't Saturday, but it is a day for the chop up. Happy to be in here with y'all. If you haven't recognized, we're going up on a Tuesday, and we just want you all to tap in and be a part of it. Um, I'm feeling cool, ready to get into some of the conversations that are happening around us in the spirit of FAFO. But before we get too deep into it, plug how you living, how you doing.
Hey man, it's been an interesting week to say the least. A lot to say about the Trump administration and what's been going on with that. And yeah, so I'm ready to get into it. I'm ready to get to it.
Right on. Well, before we get into it, shout out to everybody who's been tapping in, showing love in the comments. I've been feeling bad, and the plug should feel bad too because he be real negligent on the comments. But we be doing a little drive-bys, y'all. Like life's so crazy right now. We
Yo,
really be doing the show, and doggone they're not looking back. So they are read, even if they are not responded to, and
responded
I
to.
appreciate that. Galaxy Golf was like, I want to transcribe the whole show. Do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll talk about the ends of it and how we can show appreciation later. But if y'all want to do anything to try to help us kind of bump and push the direction of the show and get more eyes on what we're doing, we're grateful for it. Just y'all's comments alone, like, we get Melodious will pop in there every now and again post show. Just a couple of different people who don't waste no time showing love. So if that's you, thank you. We appreciate any new people who find their way over here and decide to link up and hit that bell, hit that subscribe. We're grateful for your presence, and we're gonna do better. It's not even
Every
just to say
time.
thank you. We're gonna do better. We're gonna do
I'm gonna
better.
respond to some comments too. I'm gonna respond too,
Please, you know what I'm
and
saying?
not
Because
just to the negative ones, cause I ain't gonna lie. Like I really, it's easier. You know what I'm saying? I be seeing my niggas in the chat, and I'm like, okay, appreciate the love. But then as soon as somebody's
yeah.
come in there and come in the chat, say something wild, it's time to get on their ass. So
Man, listen, there. Tyler said had to pause Daredevil for this. Thank you so much for being willing
thank
to
you,
put the
bro.
rest
Thank you.
on mute, on pause for a second.
Yeah.
Shout out to Emmanuel was good with you. Dina was popping. Miss Mam, it's always a blessing. Hood was really good.
Always.
Listen, it's great to have the family in the building. If y'all haven't, you know what I'm saying, say what's up. Show your manners. You know what I'm saying. Don't be rude. Say what's up to the people. You can even tell us where you from, what you repping. We always like to know where the Chop Up Nation is coming from. So it's always a blessing to have y'all here. Thank y'all. Hit that thumb out the gate. If it's love, hit the thumb out the gate. But I guarantee you, we're gonna have some conversation that's gonna make you want to do that anyway. So plug, go ahead and get us rolling.
All right, so y'all see the title. Y'all see what's up. Trump ain't been in office that long. All right, it's only been like really weeks. You know what I'm saying? We ain't even really into months yet. It's really been weeks.
We were 10
And
weeks, maybe 10 weeks.
is
No.
it 11? I think it is. Has it been
I
11?
think it might be too much credit because the inauguration was at the end of January. So let's say 2
Exactly.
weeks in January, 4 weeks in February. That's 6. Be 2 weeks, and that's about 8 weeks.
Yeah,
Solid 2 weeks.
and within that, Donald Trump and Elon Musk has done everything in their power to fuck shit up. And it's no coincidence that they start out with the anti-DEI shit. It's no coincidence they start out with firing people. And even though this ain't the topic of today's conversation, I want to point out this is why I tell people business people do not make good politicians. Because if you think that the way that you approach acquiring a company and trimming the fat in the company is how you approach coming into a new term, you don't know government. You don't know the purpose of government. You don't know the reason why you there in the first fucking place. That's why Elon Musk and Donald Trump been fucking up a lot. But while there's been a lot of conversation about how they've been fucking up with all the people that they've been with all the layoffs, the federal layoffs that they've been doing, the people that they've been having to hire back. What we've been seeing is just within these weeks, it's a lot of buyer's remorse.
Yeah.
It's a lot of regret. And the term that's going around right now on the social medias, on TikTok, shit like that, is fuck around and find out season. And the position is that we looking at all these Republicans who was or let's not even say Republicans, all of these MAGA voters, all of these Trump voters that was diehard.
I think we should go ahead and talk to Republican voters because it is people who have that party commitment, who have that party relationship and fidelity that just can't. I just couldn't imagine turning away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, doing something different. Yeah, so we can talk to conservatives. Yeah,
yeah, talk to them.
we can talk to I mean, we starting to see that a lot of the promises that was made, a lot of the we fixing the gas prices. Oh, it's come day one, we ending the Ukraine Russia shit. Come day one, prices is gonna get better and start improving, and all of that shit has been a lie. And not only was Donald Trump lying as he typically does, as most politicians do, but his typically they're more gratuitous. You feel me? Mm-hmm. What we starting to see is that a lot of people that voted for Donald Trump are being impacted by a lot of what a lot of the things that he's doing, and they're being impacted negatively. They're being fired. The stock market is crashing. They losing retirement. This is a double whammy. Yeah. This is a double whammy. So all of these people, because they're not just firing Democrats, they're not just firing liberals, they're not just firing Biden voters. They're really just gutting government agencies. We know that the public sector is one of the largest employers, period, right? Especially of black people. The private sector is one of the largest employers of African Americans. Let's keep it a stat. And that's a lot of who gonna lose their jobs. But we knew what the impact was gonna be for people like us, but it was those other people that were convinced for whatever reason.
Couldn't have imagined. Yeah.
Couldn't have thought it.
When I think about what you're saying, I think about the 80,000 people who finna lose their jobs from the VA, who are probably former vets themselves, or have committed themselves because of family legacy, or just because they feel like it's their civic duty to serve the people who have served this country. And if they haven't been in a combat situation or haven't enlisted, then the least that they can do is take their talents to help the individuals who have. And now they cook.
Yeah.
And this is who, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are the bridge between, you know, being a veteran and not being homeless. This is the way, by the way, I want to say FAM signed an executive order in addition to that to take away some of the funding for treatment for individuals who like were came in contact with things like Agent Orange, like and different other chemical, like they're about to stop supporting those people. So it's just like all wrapped up and tangled up in these notions of patriotism. And the question becomes, to what? What are you serving? What have you served? Is this the same America that you served before? And it sucks that you have to have such a rude awakening that the America that you know, my country 'tis of thee, is no longer supporting you, here for you, caring about you. Capable.
I mean, was they doing that for veterans anyway?
It was already on by thread. It was already on by thread, picking up some of the largest swaths of homeless population in our country. Yeah, that was already down
veterans. Bad. Yeah,
and now ensured it.
Yeah. So we see all of these people losing their government jobs that they've had for decades. On top of the fact, like Tyler pointed out in the chat, they're losing their retirement because the stock market is doing terrible. Yeah. Right. So, but you have Republicans that are saying like, well, no, you know, Donald Trump is saying we knew this was going to happen. You know, they're pointing out that Fox News is still leaning on the fact that they're saying it's Joe Biden's fault that the economy and that the stock market is doing what it does. But I want to get your thought. I want to get y'all an opinion, y'all thoughts in the chat. But is it fucking around and find out season, or is this just par for the course? Is what's happening really that significant to where it's something that we need to sit back and point at and be like, look, see? Or because a lot of people are saying, well, like politicians lie during their elections, politicians gas during their elections. So is it really a big deal that some things that are happening that he said he would? Because that's what all politicians do, right? So is this just like the normal post-election kind of shakeup, or is it really fuck around and find out season?
I think it's really FIFO season, to be honest with you, because this is not the typical buyer's remorse. This is not the, oh, you know, I'm looking back at the last 4 years like we did with Obama. Like, when you really sit and think about it and turn your head to the right, it wasn't really all that, and didn't hit like it was supposed to have hit. It didn't give what it was supposed to have gave, and so we could have kept all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are a lot of, when I think about it, you know what I'm saying? There were some meaningful changes, but we didn't really get a return on this investment. It was a whole lot of talk about this. It was hope this, hope that. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and pick a thing that you want to antagonize him about, you know, being a
drone strike president.
The ways that he did his drone strikes, the lack of action toward codifying Roe versus Wade, the lack of action and attention to real serious police reform, and really creating and developing strategies for Black people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But this is different.
Yeah.
And I think the amount of damage in such a short amount of times and the inescapable nature of that damage. Like, listen, if you fly, if you are wealthy, moderately wealthy, but not super wealthy, if you are an immigrant, if you benefit from the work of immigrants, if you are in education,
everybody like a motherfucker.
Like, I'm going through, like, if you eat eggs, if you like buy gasoline,
it's a problem.
You are feeling the reverberations of it, and so immediately and so quickly that it really is head spinning. And then you think about the fact that people are dealing with these things multiple at a time, right? When you think about the fact, one of the startling things you told me was that, you know what I'm saying, the Black workforce in Kansas City and the ways it's going to be affected because of these government layoffs, the fact that the IRS hub is in Kansas City, Missouri, and now individuals not going to be able to pay for the homes that they living in, which means that you about to turn the housing market on top of his head and create some of the most, you know what I'm saying, vacant houses and areas for the middle class who are subsidizing their living based off of this particular type of employment. My mind is blown.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's hard to look at this and say, oh, it just kind of sucks. Like, nah, this bad. Like, you're reaping the benefit, not the benefits, but you're reaping what you thought other people, you know what I'm saying, was 1,000.
You was cool with it when it was them. Yeah. You was cool. Right. Yeah. And Dad, I agree. I think this is like, it's been certain conversations I've had where niggas have been kind of like, and then shout out to J Universe in the chat, Miss Ma'am in the chat. Solar just pulled up. J Universe said, even though I be impacted, I'm glad they getting what they asked for. And we're gonna get into that. That's about to be, we gonna get into that conversation. Tyler said when Joe Biden said he was gonna forgive student loan debt, he didn't triple my student loan. You know what I'm saying?
Debt. Like, right. You think to not do what you said you wasn't gonna, like, what you said you was gonna do is one thing, to just not make the shit happen. Like, oh, all right. But you didn't like turn around and like make the situation just
worse.
Aggressively.
Yes.
Like, no. Crazy.
That's a great
point.
Not
only you not taking the prices down, you taking the prices up.
Like,
not only
drastically.
You not, nigga, like, not only is you not, you know what I'm saying, dealing with the immigration issues in a reasonable and practical and tactical way, you selling the USA gold card to motherfuckers so they can pay X amount of money to just stroll into the country for sale, nigga. Like, what are you talking about? You want niggas to come. But it's elite, rich immigrants that you want to buy up our country, take away, and subvert our neighborhoods, gentrify everything up, and turn this shit into something that don't look like the United States that we built brick by brick. Like, that shit crazy to me.
Or while people complaining about the price of eggs, you cutting research and cutting funding for research to the avian flu or the bird flu, right? Which is the reason why the price of eggs is going up in the first place. So
you cut cancer research and then brought the boy and celebrated him for defeating cancer. Like, I don't.
This is why I hate the conversation of just like, see, y'all, what y'all tripping for? Like, every politician has done this. Everybody did. No, bro. There are things where it's like, yes, we know that lying is a part of campaigning. We know that capping and really laying it on thick, exaggerating is a part of campaigning. We get that. But you can't fight as hard as you fight on his behalf with what he can do and the possibility of what he can create when he's telling you that I'm going to do this and you believe it, and then turn around and when you see that it's not happening, it's actually worse, then make excuses. The beauty, this is why I was glad that Trump got elected, because now you can't blame Joe Biden. You can't blame Kamala Harris. Whether or not Kamala Harris is black ain't got nothing to do with this. Nothing. Whether or not the 90s crime bill ain't got nothing to do with this. We talking about the economy in 2025. We talking about mass layoffs in 2025 from the public sector, while you have Republican politicians telling people that the government's role isn't to give people jobs. What? They're telling people the government's job is to deliver a service, not to hire people, then who the fuck is supposed to deliver the service?
Yeah.
Who does the work of government? It's literally like no bullshit. It's literally called public administration. Like, so I have in my government and equity workshop that I do, I have a specific portion where I highlight the significance of public administrators. Who are public administrators? Professional bureaucrats. Their job is to help citizens navigate the system. When you go get your driver's license, the DMV, right? You're dealing with bureaucrats, the public administrators. So the jobs that people have within government is to make sure that the systems of government function accurately, function the way that they need to, or efficiently, function the way that they need to. So when you're limiting the resources available to government, which is people, and you're taking away that resource, the service then sucks, which is something that we see in corporate America. They fire people, increase prices, and then provide a worse service. And the best example of that is look into regulation. Look into the deregulation of the airline industry. Mm-hmm. Deregulation of the airline industry has led to worse services and higher prices. That's a part of the way that these things function. And when you have business people dictating how a government function, you end up making the service of government worse. And as a part of that, you forget that the people that you firing voted for you. They voted for you.
I mean, I do you one better. The people who you're firing didn't vote for you, but they are so committed to their bipartisan, nonpartisan, bureaucratic responsibilities and really show up and do these things because they understand the importance of the roles that they're doing in the continuity of the country and its function, that they do it even when they don't vote for you, right? It ain't nobody at the DMV that's like, Trump won, fuck this job, this is bullshit. Don't nobody get to drive on these Trump streets. I'm done with this shit. No, they show up and continue to punch that ticket. They show up and continue to make sure that you have the ability to drive on the streets that your tax dollars pay for in ways that are aligned by the politics of that time and by the flow of the three branches of government and what they dictate. But they do that without a care in the world about their political convictions. So why bother something? Right? This is the thing that I think boggles the mind for me. Why bother and deconstruct something that serves you even if and when it doesn't agree with you? Right? These are infrastructures, these are systems, these are public services that function and make your constituents, the people who voted for you, better and their lives better in some meaningful way. Why go and damage that? Why tinker with that when the people who did vote for you benefit from these same services? Like that is the thing about America, is it's always going to be a catch-22. You got to be careful what you do in terms of politics, because what you get off, I'm going to do back to your ass when it's my turn. But also more specifically, you got to be careful about the type of shit that you vote for, because it's not just going to burn on this end. We're going to burn that shit from both ends and see what we come up with in the middle. And that's the way the shit has been meticulously constructed. And I can say, like, the American political system is some dope shit. It's just ran by a terrible white supremacist
ideology. The ideology.
Settler colonial ass motherfuckers who have tainted it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I always say, like, when people call for, you know what I'm saying, for the police to be defunded, when they call for shit, everything from anarchy to, you know what I'm saying, the Afro-pessimist desires to burn it down, and you know, even down to just police violence, I have to say, like, listen, you have to recognize that on the continent, you know what I'm saying, like across the diaspora and through history, even before the transatlantic slave trade, you better believe that tribes and nations had a system of, like,
policing.
Law and, you know what I'm saying? They had a way of making sure if you did some bad shit, you was gonna pay for that and pay your debt back to the community that you harmed. But it wasn't tainted with the infrastructure of white supremacy and whiteness that both does the clearing, which means removing of black people and black adjacent people who they've niggified, but also the replacement with these white standards of respectability, of lawfulness, of civility. Like, all of this shit is just clearing and a replacement with systems and infrastructures that have tainted the system that had existed way before what we know to be modernity happened, right? This is why it's so important to be able to clock how the evolution of civilization has happened, because we understand that Black people uniquely before the events of the moment and the then orientation of white supremacy and chattel slavery and all that type of shit, that people had a system that fucking worked. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I mean, and even and but you know, that's why niggas say this system works, but it works for who it works for. And this is where we're finding out that it works for who it works for, and poor white people isn't who it works for. Like, this system does, like, so right. And this is why when we have these conversations, I always have to pose the question: who do poor white people have more in common with? Rich white people or poor Black people? They have more in common with poor Black people than they do with rich white people. But because of whiteness, because of racism, they overinvest in their whiteness to their own detriment. White people, poor white people specifically, and what we're about to see with this whole Trump shit is a perfect example of this. But poor white people specifically do the most to hurt themselves economically. As long as you're fuck the gays, fuck the immigrants, fuck the Blacks, you know what I'm saying? We're good. We will ride with you. As long as we could say, fuck them groups, we will rock with you. And then turn around and, I mean, completely decimate any economic benefit for what they could do. Donald Trump ain't even in it for white people. He in it for rich white people, specifically. That's why he has these relationships with Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg and all of these tech billionaires, because it's a matter of that class, that connection. And poor white people are so duped by racism that they allow themselves to put themselves in worse positions economically just to be able to say fuck a nigga.
And this is why it becomes so mind-blowing that they let shit like DEI cuts even happen and get off, because Black women recognize uniquely, I'm already like cooked because of my race, but if I go get this education and take advantage of the leverage that I have through the system to creep in the back door, then I can still salvage parts of my home, parts of my community, parts of my family that could be at risk because of, a lack of support, a lack of infrastructure, whatever. This is where you get Black women being the most educated, you know what I'm saying, of, Black people in our demographic, or demographically, just because niggas was like, okay, I'm finna slip and slide through here and go get this degree, go get this paperwork. While the systems and structures do what they do, I'm gonna go ahead and get this bread. White people not recognizing that you are benefiting more from the system than Black women ever were. So lost in the sauce of being on bullshit with whiteness and white supremacy. Now you have pivoted away from a system that is allowing for you to elevate yourself as a poor white family, right? Your woman can come in there where the poor white man might not be able to navigate the system or get in there and do whatever. You still able to go in there and get a degree and add value to your family, or at least to match. Because remember, it's a class thing. You know what I'm saying? Broke is broke. Men are not able, you know what I'm saying, poor men are not able to penetrate the systems in the same capacity
that poor white women can. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a period. And so when you sit up here undermining your ability to contribute to your household and your family, to move yourself to the middle class, to navigate, and to do it so much faster than we can, right? Because all you gotta do is go get a little piece of paper. All you gotta do is get into the college, and then your whiteness is gonna help you move the rest of the way. All you gotta do is play that little meritocracy game, but you too stupid to realize that. And so you set yourself up for failure and take your ball and go home, and now ain't nobody playing. You look stupid.
And look, and because I've been involved in a lot of conversations with niggas is like, well, we ride for DEI. We fight the DEI fight. Like, fuck the bullshit. We in that battle. And the conversation has always been like, when niggas kind of write off what Trump is doing with DEI, it's just like, oh, well, white women benefit from DEI more anyway. And it's like, okay, now but think about that. Think about what you said. They benefit from this shit more, and they're still trying to fucking get rid of it. That means that the fact that we benefit at all is the reason why they're trying to get rid of this shit. So it's still significant. Regardless of who benefits from it more, they're more upset that it could be any fucking benefit to us. Any help, any assistance. You feel me? You think about
the legacy though of this country too. Like a lot of things that this country should have that like Asian countries have in terms of transportation infrastructure or certain, you know what I'm saying, like just countries around the world. A lot of we don't have here in that we have with other developed countries because they don't want niggas to benefit from it. If that means I got to give it to niggas, we ain't having it.
Not having
no.
it.
We can't have no light rail. We can't have no like no. That would mean nah. We could never.
Yeah. So in both cases, you feel me? Like what we know with critical race theory, interest convergence theory, right? That's an example of when they only benefit black people when they can benefit from it. But then we even see interest convergent. They will undermine their own interests. White women will undermine because the only majority group of women to vote for Donald Trump was white women. So literally, white women will undermine their own interests to say fuck niggas. But speaking of undermining interests, it's a few clips we're gonna go over to kind of show what fucking around and find out season look like. Cause like, hey, they got some sob stories for your ass. You'll be shocked. When niggas was talking about niggas getting shot in the street, they didn't get this sad. But when they lose their job, like that's what it is. So let's get to it.
Conference in Doral Monday, Venezuelan Americans denounced the Trump administration and South Florida Republicans.
More than betrayed. Beyond betrayed. They used us. They actually, during the campaign, and I don't want to make this political, but during the campaign, the elected officials from the Republican Party, they actually told us that it was not going to touch the documented people.
All right, so is it just Latino people? You would think so, right? You would think that's the most obvious one. The ICE raids, right? Because what happens is when you suspect it, they get rid of you. They lock you up regardless, and then you have to jump through hoops to prove that you a citizen. Yeah, they gonna hold you until they able to prove that you a citizen.
It's supposed to be built on innocent until proven guilty, but they've completely thrown that away and started from a whole different approach to presumption. But so you would assume that it was just white people or it's just Latino people. But of course, we wouldn't be doing this episode if it was just Latino people. So here we about to hear from some farmers who had to fuck around and find out, unfortunately. Because they play such a crucial role. They have such a significant job. But let's see how they feel about the current administration when we talking about what? Barely 2 months into this hoe.
Did you vote for President?
Mr. Trump.
Right?
Trump.
Mr. Trump.
If the election were today, Frank, would you vote for Donald Trump?
No way.
Couldn't happen. No.
Did you hear what I said?
You voted for President Trump. So now, in this moment, you say you're in a free fall. What is your message to him?
So I'm off the Trump train. Where I'm going for now is I got to protect my business.
Island, a wheat farmer who says he's lost $400,000 since Trump took office.
I think there was a lot of people who voted for him that want to stay loyal to him, but it's going to get to the point where financially, if it's between supporting the president or losing your family farm.
You voted for the president?
Yes, I did.
And do you support these policies which might be hurting farmers like you?
Right now, we're the ones that are taking the hit.
I think he's sort of backstabbing the main people who got him into office in the Midwest, and he just left us down.
That laugh was petty as hell. Hey, but Kamala Harris not black though, right?
Yeah.
Kamala Harris not black.
She ain't got no plans. She ain't got no plans.
Cause she ain't got
no plans. And when she did talk about them, they wasn't clear.
Now now again, please don't mistake our sarcasm for Kamala for being Kamala apologists. Don't mistake our sarcasm for being Kamala apologists. our issue, our conversation tonight specifically has to do with what people gave a fuck about during the election. When niggas was trying to say, no, we don't. Okay, yes, Trump is racist, but his policies suck.
Yeah.
Trump is racist, but he has a bad. He's not a good politician. He's not a good legislator. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't know how to do this job. Regardless of the ideological leaning of the job, he don't know how to do it. This is what niggas was saying. But Kamala Harris is Jamaican. She ain't even like Toya. What did we give a fuck about? What mattered? These are farmers. Yeah. So even though we making fun, we talking shit, laughing and shit, we the ones who still buying their produce at a 5-6% markup.
That
we the one. Oh, go ahead.
No, I said Tyler said the Germans call it Schadenfreude, and they do absolutely.
What is
nonsense.
That?
I've heard the phrase before. Yeah, like I think it's just the idea that kind of I don't know. I don't want to lie, but I've heard the term before. Let me look. Schadenfreude.
Look that up. Look that up.
Schadenfreude means
look that up.
Yeah, the pleasure derived by someone from another person's misfortune. I'm experiencing it right now. Yes. It's the experience of pleasure, joy, or self-satisfaction that comes from learning of or witnessing the troubles, failures, pain, suffering, or humiliation of another. It is a loan word from the German. Thank you.
That's fucked up.
The Germans, the Aleman. We appreciate y'all.
No, that's actually messed up. Like the Germans have a specific word to refer to taking pleasure in the misfortune.
Why English just never do it for me.
Hey, look, shout out.
I told you so. Just don't do it. And
yeah, Schadenfreude. Yeah. Schadenfreude does it.
Yeah, Schadenfreude does it.
Yeah, Schadenfreude accomplishes that goal. We not done yet.
I'm gonna point out a comment Ms. Ma'am said too. I don't feel bad for the farmers because not only did they F themselves by removing their workforce, the grant and loan programs are gone, and that's a lot of the FAFO recordings that I saw. Is a lot of people is just like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm about to be out of money. Like if I'm not able to replace or subsidize what I'm doing with these money or these grants that I'm getting from the state, like I'm not gonna be able to afford to maintain this operation myself, which means the shit is cooked, and it means that I lose a lot of the revenue that I've already put into place into a lot of the infrastructure and the system that I got going on around here. So a lot of people
and they losing revenue because they don't have as many workers.
Yes,
they're not being as productive.
Of orange orchards, like it was hard to say. Orange orchards,
country.
Like, oh, shut up, nigga. Overgrown, so overgrown, like rotting oranges on the ground, like the trees just lush, and you can just tell. You just really wish you could run through the screen and push through the screen and just pull something out the tree for yourself because it's that many in abundance. It's just not being picked. It's disgusting. The waste of it all.
Now Tyler said, "Can we talk about Southwest? Is that on the docket?" I only heard a little bit about Southwest, and I heard that they getting rid of the free,
which is just one of the dumbest things that I think they could ever do. Now, here's what I'm trying to figure out, and part of the reason that I didn't tie it into this conversation is I'm not so clear based on because I'm a Southwest loyalist as a person who flies with their dog and flies with their debate team who is sponsored by Southwest. I spent a lot of time strategizing cost around not paying baggage fees, and they have the lowest pet fees out of everybody, right? So y'all know they took away the emotional support shit during the pandemic, like all the rest of the airlines did. But their cost is like $95 each way. So I'm paying $200 each way to travel a 10-pound dog that's going to go under the seat, by the way. Mm-hmm. But that's less than your Uniteds, your Deltas, who's charging $175, $195 each way. You know what I'm saying? So I was at least like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I'll take that hit and just kind of plan accordingly. But now with the bags being gone, it's like y'all price is really not that much better than a whole lot of other people. And it's a lot of places y'all don't go. Y'all have added to that list. But I say all this to say, I haven't been able to determine because they've been foreshadowing changes, right? You know, you remember they had like kind of pick your own open seating and they didn't have seat assignments and they were kind of critiquing that.
Damn,
system.
Even Southwest is moving towards seat assignments?
I think so because they were talking about that but they were floating around like last year, those changes and changes with the thinking about tinkering the bag policy. Now, they released a statement that was like, we'll never change that. That's what makes us us, this, that, and the other, and now have pivoted. But I don't know if it is because of Trump era changes to the airline industry that have forced them to do that, or if that was already in their revenue plan, considering they were such a budget airline in comparison to the other majors. You know what I'm saying? Like not quite a Spirit, not quite a Frontier, but also still Offset and not quite a American.
Not a Delta, not a
JetBlue. And so it's hard.
What did we talk about at the beginning? What did we talk about at the beginning? The deregulation of the airline industry has led to worse airline services. Period.
Worse owners.
Yeah.
And I think this also goes way back to, y'all remember when COVID, when the pilots was boycotting. They was protesting. They were protesting and on strike. And a lot of them were complaining about not being paid and overworking and potentially dangerous situations where they're lost to sleep and this, that, and the other. So I think these different airlines have been hemorrhaging and trying to figure out how to make these systems work. You remember Southwest whole system went crazy.
Yeah, because that shit was outdated to the motherfucker.
Outdated as hell. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's been a long time coming where they probably have been trying to find a way to restructure. This is just terrible fucking timing. But yeah, we literally live in, as Jay Universe said, in historic moments, and I'm sick of unprecedented times. I might get that tatted. Like, I'm so sick of unprecedented times.
Yeah, that's why, because like I feel like, and not to go too far off on the tangent, but this is why I feel like millennials are just like, we didn't been through, we experienced the crack epidemic. Like, we experienced that in the 90s.
Yeah.
.com crashes, the largest recession. You know what I'm saying? The largest economic crash, the crash of the housing market. You know what I'm saying? And just everything from Obama since, whatever Trump did, all of that shit. Like, we didn't have to endure through all of that type of shit. And again, that's why I look at what Donald Trump is doing now, when I'm cool with, like, bet, this is what resistance fucking look like then. You know what I'm saying? When you can look at what the government is doing and the government is telling you, like, for example, y'all chop up, y'all my audience, so I ain't got no problem telling y'all, like, I'm literally getting a master's, a HR master's in diversity, equity, and strategic impact, while the fucking president of the United States is doing everything he can to discourage people from giving a fuck about diversity, equity, and fucking inclusion. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like these are things like, we exist in a time when it's like that pushback is fucking necessary. And when you look at because we're gonna talk more about like how we should orient ourselves to this type of FAFO shit, but please believe that we're going through a time where the last 2 years that motherfuckers spent arguing about Trump and Biden and who the fuck was better or what the fuck the impact could be or whomever. Regardless of the criticism of Biden, Donald Trump has shown that he don't give a fuck about y'all neither.
At all.
Donald Trump does not give a fuck about MAGA. Like, now we about to see how in Oklahoma, I'm talking about, no Democrat wins shit in Oklahoma. Sometimes, in certain areas where Democrats could kind of come up. But I want y'all to see and how even Oklahoma wasn't safe from Donald Trump and Elon Musk on their all-time bullshit. Let's get it.
I'm old enough to remember when Republicans were bragging about how they only vote for the GOP in Oklahoma. It was a badge of honor election night, remember? Yeah, FAFO has found them real fast. Yeah, it turns out, just like in most southern states, that the federal government is their largest employer there, and 600 families in Oklahoma lost an income this week. 600 more people out there looking for a job that didn't need to be. But don't you worry, Republicans. Elon Musk was able to keep all of his government contracts. He's going to be just fine, because I know how much you guys worry about him and that he needs to get to become a trillionaire in your lifetime. Do you feel like you're winning yet, Republicans? Do you feel like you're winning when you were paying $10 for your insulin under Joe Biden and now it's $90? Because those subsidies have now gone away? Because, surprise, surprise, billionaires do favors for other billionaires.
They don't give a fuck about you, poor white man, poor white woman.
Yeah.
They not worried.
the state of Nebraska also needs to be hat tipped because they going broke as like a whole state.
Now I've been looking for I've been looking for some non-Instagram, non-social media sources for that. I mean, I think people are making that conclusion based off of what those other farmers were talking about, how they losing grants and they losing the workforce at the same time. But because that's been a big conversation, but I haven't seen any, I think the Farmers Bureau released something that said bankruptcies were going up. And so I think for farmers. And so I think that's where that kind of came from. But anybody that could find anything about what's happening in Nebraska, about them going bankrupt, let us know. Because I've been seeing this conversation and I just need, you know what I'm saying, I just need some numbers or something because I brought it up. And niggas was like, when I said it, niggas was like, hey, bro, I can't find nothing on this shit. And I was like, oh, shit, don't tell me that the internet didn't got me. The internet got me out here looking stupid. So, and because I went and was looking for it myself, and I was like, ain't nobody saying that. But I think people are taking the sentiment from farmers and turning that into...
I think because it's the idea that that's their biggest revenue generators are so much in, you know what I'm saying, ag and, in those industries that with all these cuts, it's probably difficult for it to be a sustainable place to generate any income for itself. You know what I'm saying? So perhaps, but the Ev is probably inductive, you know what I'm saying, in that sense, but still there.
All right, so I got one more video for us to watch, to where we see this FAFO season. I want to make sure I got the right one. No, hold on. Nah, that ain't it. Cause it's a bunch of them, y'all. It was everywhere. What was you about to say, Sway?
Nah, just showing love for people who popped in here for us on a Tuesday night. It's a bunch of people, psychos in here.
This 3-time voting Trump supporter, disabled veteran, and former employee of the Irish
Pigeon Feather Bay. Good evening to you. I wanted to make sure I got all of the names correct in sequential order. And then, of course, everybody who was already tapped in and talking to us in the comments. We appreciate y'all being in the building. I definitely want y'all to say what's up. The only thing happening in Nebraska is Rico trapping with Method Man. Sure. But if you got that video queued up, then we can go ahead and slide to that. Hit that thumb, hit that bell if you're just tapping in. If you're just looking in, this is the Chop Up Show. We typically go live. What's up, Pure Black? Good evening to you. We typically go live on Thursday nights, but we're trying to do it a little bit more. Y'all be tuned for Substack, which will allow for us to get access to even more content. We think about doing some stuff with the pod over on Substack. So be looking out for us over there. But, it's great to have you. Always.
So, let me get this one because it was another one.
Shout out to anybody linked up with debate, with the craft, with the activity. What's popping?
Yeah. All right. So actually, I don't think I got it, but I think this is a good segue for us to get back into to the next part of the conversation, because I think just the policy conversation has helped us kind of see that people who voted for Trump are also losing their jobs. So the idea that you were safe because you were against gays and you're against immigration ain't wrong. You feel me?
Right.
So the next part of the conversation though is how should we orient ourselves to this idea of fuck around and find out, because I see a lot of gloating and very much so, right? There is me specifically, literally going back and forth with niggas for months, for over a year. Donald Trump does not have good policies. Yes, he's a racist, and yes, all politicians are racist. We can talk about the breadth of racism in the United States, but at the end of the day, just even as a marginally productive politician for middle class or even people in poverty, he's not it. Donald Trump has never shown any interest in actually making anything better for poor people, people of color, you know what I'm saying, or even middle class motherfuckers. Because the estate, when he what he did for the estate tax was, again, only impacted 1% of the country, right? So from that standpoint, we able to sit back and be like, you motherfuckers was wrong. Y'all sided with the wrong person. Y'all picked somebody. Y'all defended somebody who did not give a fuck about you. Now look at you. You done lost your job. Mm-hmm. You done lost your retirement. You losing investment assets because of the person you voted for. Now the question though becomes, is that it? Because we talking about fuck around and find out, right? Like, okay, they found out. But what is the other side of that? And so my question to you, Toya, and to the chat is, what is our orientation to this particular circumstance? Is it really just pointing a finger and being like, you motherfuckers was dumb, y'all voted for the wrong motherfucker, and y'all about to be damaged by his terrible policies as well? Or is it something that we're missing by focusing too much on that part of the conversation? Is there something else that we can get from it? Like this, like we have an opinion piece right here. Why? Like there are people who believe that we shouldn't shame MAGA voters. We shouldn't be on the fuck around and find out shit. And actually, before you respond to it, there was an opinion that I saw on TikTok that represent the other side of that argument. All right, so let me get that pulled up.
What's good, Vyasa? What's popping? Great to have you in the mix. So you gonna pull it up before I answer the question?
Yeah, I want you to hear dude's argument before you tell me what you think, and do you agree with this position or not? Okay. You see it up?
Yeah, so I see it.
Okay, bet. And then y'all in the chat, I want to hear from y'all niggas too. Ooh. Okay. Hold on.
What happened?
It wasn't pulled up the right way on the StreamYard, so let me just. Okay, now it is.
Gotcha.
I'm so tired of this fuck around and find out attitude that is spreading amongst Democrats about red states. It started kind of after the election, and it's gotten way worse since Donald Trump took office back in January. And I totally get that a lot of people vote against their own interests. Trust me, I'm there. I'm with you. But it leaves out an important nuance that like hundreds of thousands of people in these red states, specifically in the South, saw this coming, and they voted against Donald Trump. They saw it coming and took action, called people, organized people. It's just not enough. They couldn't mount it, and we can talk about the historic barriers of why that's so. And the worst part about it is that when you say fuck around and find out to maybe the farmer that is going to be negatively impacted by Donald Trump's policies, it also means you're telling fuck around and find out to the marginalized communities in those states who are negatively impacted by those policies, the people who can't afford to put food on the table in these states because of those policies. That's who you're also telling fuck around and find out to, because they live in that state too. You can't leave that nuance out. There are people in those states who voted against this who are going to be massively impacted by these policies, and saying fuck around.
So what's your position on that? Because it's like, yeah, fuck around and find out, but that shit's still gonna impact other marginalized people, you know what I'm saying, impoverished people and all of that. So with both sides of those arguments, one, motherfuckers need to be called out, but at the same time, we gonna be hurt by that shit, that same shit that we saying, ha, look at what's happening to y'all, it's happening to us too. How should we orient ourselves to this like specific moment?
Okay, a couple of things. I laugh. Tyler said, "Okay, Kevin, that's not who we were talking to." Jacob said he can have several seats. Blue said, "Where did they vote against Trump at?" Let me see. Tyler said, "I don't have a single MAGA friend. I'm pro shame." This man said, "No, they deserve all the shame. Hold that L tight. The hypocrisy they existed in while being loud and wrong." I agree with my cousins in the comments, and I'm gonna tell you, fuck around and find out is not completely look at you. You're about to suffer and I'm not about to suffer, and I'm ignorant of that. From Black people's perspectives, fuck around and find out was you about to feel how it feels to even take a couple strides in our shoes. We built for this. So like when he talks about what about the marginalized communities, they already know how to make it on fucking nothing. They already know how it feels when the government is not supporting them. Now, it's a little bit extra. It's a little bit, tighter and probably more unusual for them in some unique ways, right? Especially if you are undocumented in a marginalized community, you have to look around your shoulders a little bit more because your community is probably already over-policed, but you're not new to this shit. It is welcome to how it feels to be me for a little while. Buckle in because we know you're not ready for this shit. You are not prepared or oriented, and you have fucked around and found out that this shit not sweet. It's not easy.
Hey, shit sweet. Yeah.
We're not over here on vacation. I don't know what the fuck you thought we was over here doing, but we over here scrambling, fighting for our lives, making dots connect. Peter and Paul, you about to get to know them because you about to have to rob one and pay another one. Like, you finna really be into some shit that I just don't think you are prepared for. So when you say like, oh, is that the right attitude to take because you don't understand how things ripple outward? No, you don't understand how things ripple outward. You fuck around and this is what you get. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really the real trenches, the real experience, the real difficulty that people have trying to survive a system that has now been very obviously set up for them not to thrive. You've been comfortable. You've been placated. You've been comforted by a system that was designed for you to succeed in. And all you had to do was fill out the right paperwork. All you had to do was show up. All you had to do was put your name on the list. And the shit worked for you how they said it was supposed to work for everybody and how they said it was supposed to work for you. So you were able to cash in on the promises you had been told. Now you having to see the world through some new binoculars. Now you having to grapple with a new reality and kind of get a different flavor, and you don't have the techniques, sis. You don't have the bag. You don't have the perspective. You don't have the internal fortitude, and you don't have the resources because you don't know how to build community. And so now it's fuck around and find out. And it's real. What's my favorite quote from I think it's Sister Act 2, when Sister Mary Clarence was talking to Lauren Hill's character, was like, it's mighty lonely out there on that ledge, ain't it? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you went out there and stick your neck out and it got cut off, and that's just kind of the way that it's cooking. So, like, I don't know. You're not built for this. And now you finna see just how unprepared you really are to live in a world where motherfuckers forgot about you and intentionally write you out and don't want you to exist or survive. Welcome to the party.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. And I feel like this is the problem with liberals.
This man said they was raised in the dark. We was born in this shit. You ain't ready.
Like, I think what we saw with old boy was like the problem with liberals. Like, intentions are cool, right? Like, what you intend when you say that shit is like, oh, but marginalized people are still gonna be impacted. And that's the part we knew, motherfucker. We wasn't arguing about that part. You know what I'm saying? We knew marginalized. That's why we told y'all we not fucking with cuz.
Raquel said right. They aren't finding out. They already knew and have the same sentiment as us. Like, it's not new news. It's only new to you.
And I think what I find the most problematic is the idea that, like, it's just like you said, like, it was cool when you thought it was gonna happen to us.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes what really creates the most contention, to where it's like there's a justified finger pointing because it was cool when it was, oh, you're just calling him racist. It was cool when it was, oh, you're just saying he hate women. But when go ahead.
It was cool, but then you see how cannibalistic people can be because, like, at the same time, I'm looking at these Latinos for Trump talking about, we thought you was only gonna get the criminals. Damn, you willing to sell somebody off? Because I mean, like, and it's different ranges and scopes and scales of criminality, right? We're not finna sit up here and act like every undocumented person who has committed the crimes that they want to put on posters and talk about in terms of people being, was it Riley Lakin? Which one is it?
Right, Lakin. I think it was Lakin.
I think it's Lakin Riley, right?
Yeah.
She was, experienced her death at the hands of a criminal who took her life, who was undocumented, this and the other. But it's a whole lot of motherfuckers with records or who are criminals or bad people, and they not doing nothing different than what your ass is doing. They just don't got the paperwork to get themselves out of it, to talk themselves out of it. They ain't got no connections here in order to, get the defenses they need and the representation they need. And we know good and damn well. You know what I'm saying? Language barriers and all types of shit set up a situation where you can be talking yourself into guilt, talking yourself into situations, but you scared, you shook, you ain't got no legal representation, you cook. So I say that it's such a scale of crimes. You know what I'm saying? That these same individuals have been, but you forget them. You eat them up and throw them away. We thought you was coming for the bad ones. Are you crazy? Are you stupid?
And this may be just like the pessimist in me, but the Afro pessimist to be specific. There are no coalitions to be built with these other motherfuckers though. Like, and I think the defense of Donald Trump and the standing with Donald Trump is the type of like drawing a line in the sand that we needed to understand that it's like, yo, Kamala, y'all having the motherfucking Republicans at the DNC? That's why you fucking lost. They don't fuck with you. There's no level of logic. There's no level of morality. There's no level of ethics to get the people who view minorities the way that they do, black people the way that they do, gays the way that they do, whatever. Like all of these types of, you know what I'm saying, a combination of social views and social values. It ain't no way you gonna get them to abandon what they think about those things because you can recognize that Donald Trump don't work for them either. Yeah. Poor white people have been convinced. There's no convincing them otherwise. As long as they value whiteness over their own pockets, as long as they value whiteness over their own ability to feed their kids and to feed their families, because who are they gonna blame? They're not. I mean, you got all of these people that's blaming Donald Trump now, yeah. But what made you fall for Donald Trump the way that you did? It was his whiteness. Sam Cedar. I don't know if you the Majority Report. It's a liberal platform, a progressive platform on YouTube. And the head dude is this dude named Sam Cedar, and he went on, Jubilee, where they do the 1v20. Mm-hmm. So he went on Jubilee,
in the middle and the flags and all this.
Yeah. So he went on Jubilee and had niggas straight up, like it was this white girl that straight up got up there. Now remember, white women were a particular demographic in Trump's election because they were the only women to vote for Donald Trump at a majority rate. Only white women. Mm-hmm. All other women recognized what was up, except specifically suburban white women. The same white women that elected Barack Obama, to be clear. Yeah. A white woman got up there and said, well, what's wrong with xenophobic nationalism? Outside of how you give what you think about Latinos, xenophobic nationalism makes you, white woman, a useful idiot. Yeah. Because you'll spend more time arguing about immigrants being here than the fact that the person that you're willing to vote for does not give a good goddamn about your economic interests. And we talking about a white woman specifically, or your bodily autonomy at all. So in every other degree, in every other instance, this white man is against everything that you should be representing, everything that represents your social interests. Mm-hmm. But you'll abandon bodily autonomy. You abandon his impact on the economy because he said he's going to deport immigrants. You're dumb. You're a useful idiot. Yeah. As long as I know that, as long as I can get you on on xenophobic nationalism, you'll vote for me regardless of what I do to the market. You'll vote for me regardless of what I do to egg prices.
But remember, I brought up before that that's a cornerstone Republican strategy, right? Is to, no matter what, this is why we haven't seen solutions and resolutions to the immigration problem. This is why they're so resistant to Democratic attempts to, or Democrats' attempts to come up with meaningful legislation. They'll fight it tooth and nail and push it and reject it because they know it's a dog whistle. It's a rallying point that they can use every election cycle to call this, like a sergeant at arms. It calls people to line up and get behind this push to make sure that the alien immigrants that are coming to get us are not able to come in and take away the sanctity, the purity, the value of good old white traditional Americanism, right? Like that is their calling card and their rallying card every single time. Because, and this is why it's like when you think about Democrats, and just from a strategic level, I've said this before, there's so much separation and bifurcation and such a vast variety of needs that have to be satisfied and situated. Democrats have a struggle really hankering down what do you believe in all the time besides diversity, but to what ends, and then what way, and then how does that materialize? And diversity by nature is counterintuitive to one thing at a time, right? It necessitates a multiple focus. So a single issue focus is going to be bad, and people are going to feel undermined and undercut and left out and silenced and this, that, and the other. So the metrics, the formula for what Democrats need to make it work is also completely counter the ability to actually strategically move things consistently forward, because they don't have a they don't have one of those for Democratic Party. They're always trying to fit in and adjust to being like, we're not them. At least we're not them.
So look, the reputation in neighborhood Crips is that like the set that Nipsey came from, them Crips kill each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I forget exactly what, excuse me for not knowing, you know what I'm saying? I live in the Valley anyway. So forgive me for not knowing exactly, but I know that Crip set, and that's the type of cannibalism that we see with the Democratic Party. But again, the problem with the Democratic Party is whiteness. Period. Liberal whiteness it has a different danger. I think the problem is that we get so situated in being like it's all the same. They two sides of the same coin. No, these are different coins. They just serve the same purpose. You know what I'm saying? It's like a nickel and a dime. You feel me? They different coins, but they within the same currency. You feel me? And what happens is, you know, Democrats position themselves as dimes to the nickel. That's the conservative, right? So they give themselves more value because of their stances on social justice and their stances on diversity, but they still serve the same. Y'all cut from the same cloth at the end of the day. And the problem is that we have been caught up in the Democrat versus Republican game that we've ignored the fact that when we say that they the same, the only line that's connecting the two is whiteness. It's not the government. Even motherfuckers that will tell you, man, white supremacy, y'all talk about white people too much. When you complain about Democrats, your biggest complaint is liberal racism. What the fuck are you talking about?
That.
Like, what is really the conversation that's taking place? And so when we're at a place where I think it's what makes it bigger than I told you so is that now moving forward, you can't say the shit you say. Like the things that you have proven to be important, the things that you have shown to say this matters during an election. Now we see that shit that you was on was wholly fucking irrelevant. Y'all, you can't dictate no more conversations moving forward. And I feel like that's really what we need to be embracing. To fuck around and find out is you found out that the shit that you care about is wholly insignificant.
Oh yeah.
Does not matter. You know what I'm saying? You're spending your time spinning your wheels about some shit that when it comes to actually making an impact, it doesn't. It's to the detriment. Because now we don't even need to talk about the racism. Like if we being strategic to you, if we keeping it a stack, we don't even need to talk about the detriment, the racism of Donald Trump. White man, he don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Listen. It may be an uphill battle to be like, we need Donald Trump to give a fuck about black people. You know what I'm saying? That's a fight.
That is.
But he claimed to fuck with you though. He's saying that he represent you his people. Why are you getting laid off? Why are your farms failing? We ain't even out of the first quarter. Why are your farms failing? What is happening to your retirement?
Yeah, these economic decisions, right, reverberate for months. So, like, this is not even just right now. Like, you about to be feeling this and asking these types of questions up until the midterms, probably. I mean, and that kind of brings me to this idea that, you know, when we talk about FIFO, I think hopefully You know what I'm saying? If people are really feeling some type of way about being targeted, being called out, that they really make these candidates feel it. You know what I'm saying? We already starting to see some of that. I'm happy Republicans got some type of spine because these town halls have been canceled because they've been in there, you know what I'm saying, going wild and really letting them have it and making a whole lot of noise and a whole lot of commotion at the same time. This is, you know, we've seen these same town halls where a white woman got picked up and carried out and nobody defended her, nobody fought for her, nobody showed up for her. And this is the reason why nobody is coming to save y'all. You do have to experience this by yourself because you don't know how to fucking act. You don't know how to hold people down and support them when bullshit is happening. She was there with a group of friends. The niggas who carried her out wasn't the police. She was at a public event, and for men to care so much about traditional manhood and shit like that, not one person said nobody hit the Jamie Foxx doing Denzel Washington. Get your fucking hands off me. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody went in there and did nothing and let that lady get carried out like that. So y'all ain't even about it. Y'all not with the shit enough for black people to show up and be arm in arm with y'all anyway. But it's real cute how y'all did shake the table at them little meetings so much so that they stopped having them and encourage they, you know what I'm saying, they delegates to stop holding them because they was getting the chopper sprayed at them. So my sincere hope is that the ones who really get FAFO are these candidates who are going up for re-election in 26, who are going up for re-election in 28, that are going up for re-election in 30, however long their terms are. Right now, I think, though, the other side of it is I don't think you need to be trying to, you know what I'm saying, take that energy and run on some whole we're not Donald Trump type shit. Like this needs to be a defining moment where Republicans, I'm not saying run to the Democratic Party.
Right.
I'm saying we got to stop playing this game and really rupture some meaningful shit. So if you really learned your lesson, you need to come up with some shit that is progressive in your own way, newly progressive in ways we haven't seen. Like it's taking some political masterminding. So that's my biggest thing is FAFO has to have an expiration date, because I think the trouble that we get in is if we sit and do so many victory laps that motherfuckers miss opportunities to mobilize and to connect and get some shit straight about what we actually do want come 2026. Now that's going to be a fatal fall.
Right.
That's where we're really going to get kind of lost in the plot. That's where we'll start losing the plot, right? So
yeah.
I think the biggest and most important thing is not only these white people, after they kind of finish taking their lashings and they heal and come back out to play again, that they find a way to mobilize campaigns that are not just, I'm not Donald Trump.
I'm not Donald Trump.
On to a lot of the same bullshit that got us here, the same logics, the same everything from education, everything from don't say gay, all this focus on trans people, all this bullshit. Like, you can't pick and choose which parts of that you want and then come back and be like, but at least I'm not Donald Trump, but no gay people, and Roe versus Wade is still cooked, but here's how we're going to fix the economy. And I got this brother. Like, I'm not going to hear that shit.
Yeah.
Overhaul. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's about to be mystified. I would hope and fall for that bullshit no more, because it's not enough to be not Trump. You know what I'm saying? Joe Biden told us that. It's not enough to Trump. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it has to be an entire repackaging, or they have to go ahead and get the fuck over it and get behind black people who are doing the work. You know what I'm saying? Go triple time hard for all the rest of the Jasmine Crockett's and Rashida Tlaib's and AOC's and
the Ilhan Omar's,
Al Greens and all
Ayanna Presley.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so
many people out here giving the game. Like, don't fumble them the same way we fumble Stacey Abrams, bitch ass niggas. Like, really make sure you figure out a way to humble yourself and rally behind motherfuckers who really are trying to be a new horizon and a new day in a lot of meaningful ways that already are in the mix. But either support them or find a way to chip away at shit that just don't try to be like, but I'm not him though, because that shit is weak.
Nah, and I think that's a great point, because when you fall for the at least he's not Donald Trump logic, that's the same as falling for the I'm against gays.
Yeah.
Well, at least he ain't for gays. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the same logic. It's the, as long as I can get you on this, I don't have to do the other work.
Yeah.
As long as I could be like, this is what I'm not, I don't gotta do the other work. I don't give a fuck what you don't stand for. What do you and what will you stand for when you get in that fucking position? Like, because like Democrats didn't already realize that I'm not Donald Trump has already fucking failed. You lost. Yeah. Kamala Harris wasn't Donald Trump, and motherfuckers was more convinced about her being Jamaican Indian as opposed to being black. That shit mattered more. Now we're at a place where we see, well, damn, did it matter that much? You know what I'm saying? Like, because at the end of the day, would we be dealing with some of the same conversation? Would we have to deal with Elon Musk attempting to fire people and having to realize that they got to rehire him because he don't know what the fuck he's doing? That's what I'm saying. I don't like, fuck it. She not black. Okay, cool. Even if we agree on that. Will we be firing motherfuckers that's in the FAA to where we got a traffic controller shortage and we're seeing more airplane disasters in history than we've ever seen before? Will we be at least seeing that though? Fuck no. And again, this ain't Kamala, like this ain't no type of Kamala apologist. It's just that you were wrong. We made the argument that shit may not be perfect under Kamala, but it's gonna be worse under Donald Trump. And we're seeing worst case fucking scenarios. And we ain't even made it out of the first quarter of the year. That's where niggas is wrong at the end of the day. But now that we're here, we can't fall back on Kamala can't come back and say she not Trump no more. We don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom can't come around talking about he not Trump. None of you people can come around talking about who y'all fucking not, because being him ain't made a fucking difference because y'all ain't made no fucking changes. There's been no difference made.
That's for anybody trying to step up to it, be ready to come hard, man. But like that's in the world.
And that's why I'm saying I think that point that you make is the most significant, because now it's like, cool, MAGA conservatism is not surviving after Donald Trump.
Right.
There are no conservatives that could kind of express what Donald Trump expressed and have that same acceptance, because Donald Trump was a Hollywood figure. He was a known commodity. Nobody currently representing the Republican Party can hold a candle to what he represents to Republicans right now. So when he's done after his second term, he's done. And anybody that's talking about, oh, but we got to worry about Trump getting the third term, no, the fuck we don't. He is not that fucking. Nobody around him is that fucking intelligent to undermine the Constitution and the two term limits that's been established.
Yeah.
And to think that he can is what I will call Trump derangement syndrome. That nigga ain't that fucking smart. He gonna get it in while he can, and in these 4 years, he's gonna be done. The question is, we got 4 fucking years. We're gonna have to ride this hoe out. Whatever the fuck is going on, we gotta ride it out. And then when we get to the end of it, what's next? And we got next year, and then real quick, tell you, we got next year. If we looking at MAGA Mike Johnson and we looking at them putting, like using black kids with cancerous props and all that shit, right. Next year you can get rid of a lot of them motherfuckers. What are you on though? That's the question.
How do you learn about campaign, like people who are generating campaigns like before they're in the, you know what I'm saying? Because like I feel like I'm so like interested in what's going on around me, and I mean I live in Orange County, so it's probably gonna be some no shade, white or Asian people trying to do some cool shit, or like a Latin people they be in the mix too.
Hey, because you know it's a nigga in Orange County. It's a nigga in Orange County that's gotten reparations for Asian people, and he was like he want to use his model for reparations for Asian people to get reparations for black people. But that's another show. We'll talk about it though. I've been reading up on his shit, but we'll talk about it.
No, and I love that, but it doesn't really matter. We've already identified that this is not a racial question. This is a question of people with the right politics to make the right decisions to get some type of, I won't say realignment because the shit was crazy in other ways, but to get some type of alignment and trajectory for where we are and where we're going. And so I just really wonder, like, what avenues you take to like what's the buzz? Like people, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I know for a fact it's people who've been strategizing since the election results was made official. Like, that's what it is. That's what we own. Let's ride. And I would love to just kind of be on their pulse, or even amplifying those voices, up in LA, you know what I'm saying? Going to South Central, going to those community shit. Cause like, I mean, it's going to take everybody, you know what I'm saying? So if it means showing up to a rally or listening to some town halls or hearing, you know what I'm saying? Like some of the ideas that people have, but I want to be ahead. Like, I don't want to be 2026 with, California sends you out them thick ass pamphlets with all the information about every candidate, but that's helpful. It's a cool little tool to know I have, but it's also overwhelming. Like, bro, I'm a teacher and I ain't trying to go to school. I ain't trying to, but some of it does necessitate that we go ahead and get out of our comfort zone. It's not about what we want to do. It's about being educated, doing it right. So I say that and then recognize the same way I look at my students, like, I know you don't want to read that shit. Guess what though? You still got to. Like, it's just the nature of the game and how you understand what's going on around you. So I don't know. In saying this, I've decided that I'm not just gonna lay down and take this, stick my head in the sand, and I'm still trying to figure out my entry point to what this means. How to do that,
yeah. But, I recognize it's a bit harder. I think because like we in Southern California and we in a Hollywood type of environment, either Hollywood or a lot of bread or cultural. So like Toya in Orange County, like in most cases, like the Asian community has like the politics kind of on lock in a lot of ways because Orange County is made up of a lot of majority Asian communities. You know what I mean? Which they like, and to varying degrees of progressivism, if we're being honest. And then being in LA, I think the greater problem is that everything is Hollywood. The politics is Hollywood. You know what I mean? So it's like it's all about like recognition and name being known and all of that. And I think we have to take politics back to like the grassroots. You feel me? Like who is like the people that's in the community that, I mean, to be honest, a lot of the people that should be running for office don't run for office because of what that entails. And the type and what's necessary and the type of like who you got to hobnob with and all this other shit.
Us being former debaters, like our whole lives we've been told, you know what I'm saying, since we started doing that and really start coming into our own and then maturing and developing our own politics. Oh, you should run for city council. You should run for mayor. You should run for president. You should run for this, that, and the other. And I refuse because I know what you have to compromise. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been really refreshing, for example, to see like the criticisms of I think it was Ilhan Omar, Jasmine Crockett, all of they, billionaires, they got all this money, this, that, and the other, and to look at their records and see they haven't been back. Bernie Sanders, right? All these people who have never taken private money, not only worked off the donations that's coming straight from the people, this and that, whatever. But even then, if it's not money, it's you know what I'm saying? It's just a lot of weird positions you got to be in. And I don't think I have the tact nor the patience to even deal with the bullshit that would attempt to try to come in and, you know what I'm saying?
Try to navigate that at all.
In the position that I'm in, and you know what I'm saying, trying to get a whole bunch of that. I'm here for the people, and I just feel like serving the people is a different entry point that I see myself in as opposed to being an elected official. But I get it. You know
I think if we was back in Kansas City, maybe. I think out here it's a more of an uphill battle. But if we just looking at some of the comments, man, because we kind of been going in without paying no attention to y'all. But
I've been paying attention. But
okay. Yes, we been because there's a lot to say, man. It's a lot to say. My man Psycho said, both sides do that. Get everybody to vote against things and not for things. That's American politics. People need to realize this, and I like that. And I feel like that's been the biggest problem with like doing the thing that Toya is saying is because we end up focusing more on what we don't fuck with instead of being like, who is a politician I would vote for? And I actually did that. Did a little. Like during the election, I kind of asked niggas this, and that's a harder question to answer. Like who you would vote for is a more difficult answer than who you shouldn't be vote for and why you shouldn't vote for somebody. Mm-hmm. Like niggas would jump out the window as to why. Like, yeah, I ain't voting for them because they said they and the crime bill and super predators and all of this other shit. But then it's like, all right, well, cool. Well, like if you had the opportunity to build the perfect candidate, what would that candidate represent? And then the next question is that candidate electable?
Yeah, we've had a similar conversation about that, right? And the question becomes, by the time we get done, Frankenstein and our ideal candidate, they either not the right gender, not the right race, not the right sexual orientation, don't have what people would feel. Well, not quality is not quality. Qualifications are kind of a little bit more skeptical. But we know if you are Black, a woman, or a person of color, or got a disability, your qualifications got to be on 10. Mm-hmm. So. You know what I'm saying? They're just, and then, what's their background like? What were their politics like in high school and college? And you know what I'm saying?
What did they old tweets say? God damn it!
You know what I'm saying? Like, and we have so many. I think, avenues to find out old information and people who want to be in the limelight. So they're going to come with this old story about you and pictures and videos and evidence and shit. Now we live in a world where like old school candidates was able to get away with shit because there wasn't no evidence. There wasn't no phones. There wasn't no cameras. Now we did some shit in the spring of 2015. You're going to hear about that shit in 10, 15, 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But I do feel like the election of Donald Trump has loosened a lot of this shit, because y'all ain't about to pull up nothing from my past as anything worse than anything Donald Trump done fucking done. I guarantee you. I ain't got 30 something felonies, and I ain't got nobody suing me for sexual assault. So at the end of the day,
the ethical barometers that we use in things like education, not education. What was I about to say? In politics, in education, just in various institutions, like the standards of ethics are gonna have to change. You know what I'm saying? Like employment, it was what I was about to say, not education, but employment and politics, because questions about criminal backgrounds, it's like, what are we really even talking about
at this point?
What are we saying? I can't work here, but the president, the highest office, found guilty in that motherfucker. No restitution, no, time in between his crimes. He did nefarious shit in pursuit of office while in office before, like.
But because he became president,
some weed in 2017, and now I can't work here. That's crazy. That's
then who we got next? Tyler said get him on the show. The reparations dude, I would love to have that Asian dude. I need to go find his video. Because that shit was because I was like, damn, is an Asian dude going hard on black reparations like that? But they said he got reparations for Asian community, so I get it sent to you, Toya. THC to BTC said roll up, subscribe, smoke that like button while you pass this video to a friend. Appreciate the love for sure. Raquel is agreeing with us on some on all the shit because again Toya was cooking, so of course. Miss Ma'am said educating people on civics is and the country actually works or how the country actually works will make hella difference on making progress. Agreed, because when you got people that believe that the government gets tax cuts, for diversity quotas, we have a fundamental misunderstanding of how government and taxes work. Fundamental misunderstanding.
Absolutely.
Tyler said his old roommate is in the Missouri house.
Go to Tyler's bottom. Go to Tyler's most recent comment, because that's why I'm smiling, because he's dumb.
He said Dom was way worse than Trump. I was there. No, bro. No. Stop telling.
Then no. Look,
the other way. He said he got. Reparations. Reparations. Hey, niggas. Hey, bro. That's like that's like Dave Chappelle racism.
I don't think is it racist, or is it just a great play on words?
A great play on words.
I'm here for it. Our Raquel said my perfect candidate is definitely not electable. I need a candidate with the politics of Elaine Brown and talk like Marshawn Lynch. 1,000%. Yeah. I need him to listen. I need him to go in there.
Look, now shout out to my man Psycho. Who else we got in here from that be in them circles? TAC to BTC. Like we've been in conversations where we've literally said, would you want how would you feel about a doctor that came in and said, what's good? Like, this is your physician.
Yeah.
How would you feel if your physician came in and said, what's good? And you'll be surprised by the amount of black people that said, I would not want a physician that uses that type of black vernacular, which is crazy because these are people who say that they fuck with black people.
My thing is, you talk like that, but you are clearly a doctor who would your mind is huge. Like you are, because you refuse to even let the exposure, your environment, like we all know that assimilation, like parts of it are just kind of natural. This is why you go in college and you sit up a little bit straight, and when the teacher call on you, you clean it up and you don't sound
right,
like
yeah.
In the hallways, right? We code switch. Like that's just kind of the nature of it. But I think it's actually harder to not code switch while being in these very high capacity positions, because it demonstrates such a comfort with your knowledge base, such a confidence and esteem for the work that you do. You willing to kind of let that speak for itself and not come at the expense of building relationality and similarity and things like that. And so I think that it is a profoundly like, I mean, because chances are the white person coming in and you're not like, what's good? You saying what's good to me because you feel like there could be a situational
relationality.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Because you like the selectivity of it all. Like I really am a fan of that approach. It's a level of mindfulness that I don't think we will see anywhere else. Right. But Miss Ma'am asked a question that I do want us to get to. Let me see before we jump to that. Tyler said, when I was in Hawaii, a doctor said, "How's it?" which is a common greeting in Hawaii, but it was too casual for a doctor, and I didn't like it. He was white.
Yeah, if a white doctor come in here and talk about some what's good, I'm out. I don't want that, nigga. Like I don't want that shit.
Money. I'm gonna put $20 in that little top pocket where your pen at. You keep talking to me like we cousins. You feel me? Like I'm gonna definitely sow a seed in your ministry. Thank you.
Chastorian is pointing out. Chastorian 55 says, "See more identity politics." I'm not even gonna be the nigga to hold you. I'm pro-black. My politics are based in my identity, nigga. Yeah. I don't give a fuck. White, like y'all, motherfuckers let white people say identity politics is a bad thing and all this other shit, but have no problem saying that they okay with a white America. America's white and it should be white, but then them same people telling you that you shouldn't fuck with identity politics. Stop playing. I operate in the realm of identity politics. Fuck you mean? Identity shape politics, because politics is a question of who gets what, and identity determines where you fit in that equation. Mm-hmm. So like this ain't, hey man, listen.
That co-constitutive, you can't have one without the other.
Without the other.
I want to end with Ms. Ma'am's question. Do y'all think these Trump years will get more people to let go of identity politics and lean into what will actually work for the country? What you think?
Yeah. Nah, actually, I think the Trump years is going to position people to embrace identity politics even more, because I think being against DEI the way that Donald Trump is and how he use it as a crutch, the more people realize that, because like right now, like with DEI as a perfect example, what's happening now is people are trying to mitigate the impact of being associated with DEI and having a federal government that is purely anti-DEI at the moment, right? Mm-hmm. So because we're trying to mitigate the economic circumstances, like the loss of funding, the loss of positions, loss of jobs, those types of things, we're not as focused on resistance because we're trying to, again, mediate the impact of what Trump is doing. Once we get to a point to where, okay, we've changed all the names of our programs, we've changed this, we've changed that, and they're still using DEI as a crutch and as an example, as a way to make excuses for failures, for institutional failures, then people are going to start to be like, okay, fuck mediating anything. It's time to be the opposition party. Period. It's time to, like, because if they're telling us that this is the America they want to see, where you got people literally openly saying I'm okay with being a xenophobic nationalist because of who's in office, there are going to be people like me, myself. I'll be honest with y'all. So with me getting my master's in diversity, equity, and strategic impact, and we just started our new quarter, and the director of our program was talking to us and letting us know that if you would like, when you graduate, because what's going on with Donald Trump, if you want to adjust the name of your master's, even though you're like everything that you learned and everything else is still relevant, this is a major research university, so all of this is gonna matter. But if you concerned about having diversity in your degree, when you have a government that's against that type of rhetoric, we will allow you to shift the language of what your master's is. I told the director straight up, I'm not changing shit. I'm advocating for diversity and equity and creating policies that make these things fucking possible. Fuck Donald Trump. Is there an economic impact? Yes, there fucking is. But I know as somebody who's advocated for black people in a majority white space, like what we did for debate, we took losses in order to make the arguments that we was making.
That part.
But in the long run, niggas was respected as legends in the game because we looked diversity resistance in the face in 07, 08, 09, 2010, 11, 12, 13, we looked diversity resistance in the face and said, we don't give a fuck. Yeah. I know that it's an opportunity that I might lose this debate simply because what I want to talk about, and I'm still going to fucking do it. So the one thing that I'm embracing is I represent the resistance. Donald Trump is making policy against the shit that I give a fuck about, not the shit you talking about.
Right.
Who's the real threat? Who does Trump and white supremacists and these people, who do they really see as the threat? If they got to make legislation about the shit that I'm on.
Come on.
They literally saying, hey, we're attacking. We're literally saying, hey, there's an entire DEI hotline that if there's a government agency that you feel like is getting federal funds or a private agency that's getting federal funds and they have any type of DEI anything, you can call and snitch.
Right.
Ain't no snitches on the shit you niggas is talking about. They not worried. They not talking about FBA. They not talking about black aboriginals. They not making policies for nothing that you niggas is talking about.
Yeah.
But the shit that I'm on, oh, you fucking right. I have no problem being resistance to the federal fucking government.
We love it. And you got some 100s coming in the chat, so clearly people on that same type of timing. It is the you that will be at the forefront, of these pendulum swings. Because this ride feels a little more bumpy than usual, but it is what is making the cake of the American infrastructure, which is the system can be done up a certain way, and then it can be undone, and then it can be patched up again, and then it can be accelerated to be very interesting. And then this time it's on pendulum swing back, but more slower, and this time it's a more like this is kind of non-unique. And I think as much as we look at these, more recent moments with kind of, I'm gonna call them delusions of grandeur in terms of the bigness and the kind of significance of it, there is, the system of federal judges in the Supreme Court who are slowing the momentum down. Remember, he got to do as much as he can and throw as much shit to the wall to see what sticks in 18 months. Right? You only get a certain amount of time before your presidency. This is why you look at the end of Obama's presidency and it was largely nullified and very quiet because the conversations were about what happens now that his term is over, his legacy has been cemented, and what the next kind of evolution looks like. So he only got about, if you want to hold on tight and do a countdown, he got about 14 months left to make some noise and see what's up. He got to, but he got
midterms is going to be big. These midterms about to be big. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so this is really the time to really be thinking more intentionally about what you do want, what you want somebody. When we talked about, Psycho was talking about who you not, reasons not to vote for somebody as opposed to voting for. What do you want this time around so that we don't fall into the same kind of lull, the same system that we continue to criticize election by election? Now, I will say I gotta tap in with what Tyler said, because Tyler said I have no faith in people getting smarter. And so when it comes to, not attaching themselves to identity politics and making the best possible decision when it comes, that's what I'm saying, not holding my breath. I feel like this shit has, if for no other reason, this has kind of forced people back into identity politics because the trust has been broken. You know what I'm saying? Black people and Latinx people, we got to rebuild. You know what I'm saying? White women and black women, we've always been on dicey terms. Now we really got to figure out what the fuck going on. Poor people, poor white people, you know what I'm saying? There's so many different fractures and what we thought made sense and who we thought was a voting base and the types of things that people were going to be voting for if they wanted to swing in the Democratic direction to make those types of decisions. But now people don't know who to trust. And when you don't know who to trust, you trust people who sound like it's from where you from. And so I feel like identity politics is going to be, a hurdle to be gotten over just because I think the divisiveness behind all of this is going to make us kind of worse for the wear. But I don't know. As an Afro pessimist, I'm reluctant to be it's going to get better. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to say, but I don't think people are smart enough to make those types of decisions. One of the things Ms. Ma'am said that I think is a whole lot more reflection, I think a realistic reflection about what I was saying about the doctor thing, is in terms of a doctor walking in saying what's good, she said not only an initial introduction, but as we continue, hell yeah, I want to what's good. I also just want to be clear. I think I agree with that. That's my official stance. Out the gate, off rippies, You know what I'm saying? Build some rapport with me. Let's start it the way that it's supposed to go, so that I know that you dignify me as a client, as a patient, as somebody valued, and that you come credentialed and representing the beautiful things. But
a cultural connection that is typically absent from this space.
Absolutely right, but I don't want it to be. I want it to be
authentic. Authentic. Go ahead and say it. Yeah, authentic
and organic. And I don't know, because it can also seem it can also undermine what I'm trying to look for. You know, my personhood or my dignity. If what's good in me, like I don't have the capacity to have an intellectual, you know what I'm saying, serious conversation about my health or about this thing, and I'm not aware of my setting. Like, why are you talking to me like that? How do you perceive me, and how are you taking me, and what have you read about me that thinks, you know, that you could be this comfortable with me? So I do want to overcome that, but after a while, like, let's keep it real cute. Like my doctor, shout out to Dr. Khan, man. He an Indian guy. And he like our age. I want to say he's like somewhere between my age and your age. He cannot be too much younger or older than you and I.
Yeah.
And child, by the time we got done kiki and ha-ha about this world we live in, about, you know what I'm saying, the shuffle and the grind, he respects the work that I do. I think he might have said something was capped to me, and it just flowed right out. I'm like, when you off the job talking to your wife,
it's that affect. It's that affect.
Yeah,
if you can use the language in a way that feels right.
Yeah. It don't feel forced. I didn't feel like you said it because I was your black patient and my name's Latoya, and you feel like you have to talk to me a certain way. I feel like you was just like, this is full of shit, and I'm going to say it like that. I want to say, yeah, it was like cap or mid or something like that. I was just like, you talk like this in your real life, and I love that, because me too. I'm the professor and you're the physician, and we're in here having a meaningful connection and engagement about the real lives that we live. Do that.
Yeah.
We love y'all. You might see us again this week. You never really know. A couple comments coming in. Chastatorian says if the policy don't work, tell your congressman or woman we need a new one. They don't listen, vote them out, and or come up with an alternative. Like, that's it. That's really, the formula is not so difficult that
it's not complicated.
Figure out kind of what this shit looks like. It's just the decision to either be the one or rally around the one who got the goods. J Universe said, I'm over trying to build with people outside of black people. Everybody plays in our face and will leave us to fend for ourselves, in line with what I was just talking about in terms of the skepticism, like the lack of trust has been broken. Raquel says, I wish I could see my dental assistant. He from Richmond, California, where open face goes. I'd be like, Cuddy. During the appointment, like, I love that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's, I think, what was it? A pilot who had grills and had some locks or whatever. He was going viral because then nobody believed that he could be.
It became a conversation about his professionalism.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
And my thing is, man, like, you know, be you. Know how to walk that line, and this is why code switching. Like, this is a concept that I've been able to teach to my college students who are just like, code switching. I had no idea that it had a name.
Yeah,
or what
niggas ain't even up on it. Yeah.
Listen, this is an area of study that influences and shapes the way many people navigate cultures, right? This is not just a black thing, the code switch. We code switch. It's the difference between talking to your granny and how you talk to your cousins. It's the difference between how you talk in the church house and what you say once you get inside the car, you close the doors and windows up. It's all, you know what I'm saying, a matter of being responsive to this and having the situational awareness.
Situational awareness, yeah.
Successfully to get what you need out of that exchange. If you need for somebody to see you as a person of respect or of value or of intelligence, then you do what you need to do and you code switch in order to get that outcome. If you need somebody to see you as not a threat or whatever, this is why you lighten up your voice.
It's strategic.
It's all the goal that maximize the communicative goal and to get out of it what you desire from that exchange. And so we all do it. It's a matter of understanding it and doing it in a way that makes people around you feel comfortable, equipped and prepared. Yeah. So Raquel said he probably the only pilot landing planes right now, baby. It's looking
right now.
You hear what I'm saying?
Shit, right now, without a doubt.
Ooh.
But yeah, we appreciate all y'all that pulled up, joining the conversation, man.
We just kind of in here for what it usually be. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to y'all for being in here deep a little bit.
Yeah. Everybody, Raquel, Miss Ma'am, Chastorian, Psycho, J Universe, TAC, my nigga Tyler. Everybody that pulled up, joined the conversation, man. We appreciate y'all. We trying to do another show this week. But we're gonna try to see what's up Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
No. We're not gonna lie about when. We just gonna let them hit the bell. And
yeah. Hey, so just make sure y'all.
Let's not lie to the people.
Cause hey, yeah, we gonna stop lying to y'all. Cause niggas' schedules is wild right now. So you know we out here grinding, doing what it is that we do. Toya at debate tournaments. I had finals week last week.
I'm about to come here and do some more work. How about that?
Yeah.
Put in
So
doing something, whatever.
We ain't even gonna lie to y'all about when we gonna pull up. Just make sure y'all hit that notification bell so when we do pull up, y'all can pull up with us. Make sure y'all subscribe to the Instagram, subscribe to the Facebook, and for sure make sure y'all subscribe to the YouTube. Toya, anything else for the people before we do?
Nah, man, big love to Emmanuel popped back in, THC to BTC. Marcel popped in here and said what's good. I don't think we got to say what's up.
My man, Average Joe pulled up too. I'm sure he did it too.
It's love.
Yeah.
It's love in here. We had Dina in here earlier. Just the fam is the fam. Hit the thumb if you haven't already. Show us some love. Let people know we're here having a good conversation. Next time we in this thing, hit that share button. I don't care where you send it. Facebook, IG, X. I don't care. Just tell somebody we out here talking about some cool shit you think they need to be a part of. We see the hearts going up. So it's definitely love back to y'all. We are so grateful to have Chop Nation in this thing. And with if all hearts and minds are clear, we'll go ahead and cut y'all loose for the night. Take y'all to church real quick.
Yeah, all hearts and minds are clear. Look at that.
Some of y'all might already be in Wednesday. I hope y'all go ahead and set the tone for us. We be here headed there from the West Coast very, very soon. But we love y'all. Be good.
Yeah. We out. It's the Chop Up. Peace.
Yeah.